I am Blixa Bargeld. My involvement with the Ghosts of the Civil Dead is as a composer of the score, the soundtrack, together with Nick Cave and Mick Harvey, and giving my general comments about how to develop the editing and etc.
Okay.
I did some voiceovers too for
okay.
some
but
people.
Can you repeat it and you look directly in the camera for that introduction, and afterwards you look at me?
I don't think so, no. Hello? Yeah? Yeah? I think we were in Australia already, and I don't know if it was a tour that was finished or if it was a tour after it, but for some reason we were in Australia, and the word was out that we're going to compose some soundtrack for a film. That's about it. I have met John before, but well, Ghost of the Civil Dead was the first film he did make, so the first full feature film he did make, so I could have not possibly seen another film. What is my strategy to write music for a film? Well, in that case, I did not write the music myself alone. I did, so it was 3 people were involved in writing the music. I think it was quite, the solution was quite economical. I did, for my personal start was just, I didn't want to play guitar, as what I usually do with the Bad Seeds. So I asked for having several days by myself in a recording studio. That's when I laid down the general flute pattern for, and I think mainly I played flute and piano strings, plucked piano strings. Yeah, and bass harmonica, I believe. I can't really, this is a long time ago, but I had a couple of days in the studio for myself. I laid down a couple of ideas, and Mick Harvey added a couple of the ideas, and so it was quite, the music is fairly sparse, and I think that is a good quality about it. To me, this film is basically about architecture, and that is the whole point, and the whole twist in the story is a twist about architecture. The main villain in this film is actually the architect that is getting led through the prison and says something about the cage being too close to the wall, etc., etc. So the whole point in writing a score for it had to do with rooms. I think I delivered some actual recording of room recording by a Japanese medical professor called Hajime Muroka for the solitary confinement cell. So there were various degrees of sounds that had to do with the enclosed spaces that are featured within the film. There is not necessarily a theme that you can assign to a particular person in the film, as I would say in John's second film, to have, what was it actually called? To Have and to Hold? I think so. It was in a much more conventional way to write the music there, because you could actually assign themes to various persons in the film. And that was not that much possible in Ghost of the Civil Dead. There is a fairly classical text about the writing and the mistakes of writing film music, and that's by Hans Eisler, who did write a long collection of essays called Materials for a Dialectic of Music, in which he says, and I hope I was following that idea, that you should never illustrate the visuals. You should always comment on the visuals, and I think we actually achieved that in there. I do like Johnny, and I did like what I saw of the film. I very much liked it. In opposite to I believe Nick and Mick, I do actually like prison movies. I know I can remember that when we discussed it back then, Nick and Mick both really did not like prison music, and I actually do like prison movies because, you know, all different kind of like You know, horror movies are usually can be, if they're good, then they can be boiled down to questions, existential questions, and but a prison movie is almost theological. I do remember the whole film, and I do remember the music as being good and working very well in the film, but I did not try to nail anything. So I do not recall any scene being overwhelmingly put to music. And I think we did right as well that the most gruesome scenes in the film actually have no music.